So, Rajesh, India and South Africa are at the World Trade Organization and they're campaigning about the fact that COVID vaccines should not be patented. So, what do you think about that?
A great question, Ananya, and very relevant for our times. Because if we have failure at the national level, we also have simultaneously failure at the global level. Unfortunately, even somebody like Mr. Bill Gates, he does not support the idea of dropping patent rights in respect of vaccines which have been developed. I am a great supporter of intellectual property rights in general. So I would not like somebody to steal the idea of any of my novels and make a film out of it. So intellectual property rights need to be protected, but we can't have something which is a general fit for all circumstances. And this is a situation where we need to waive those rights. There's a very interesting, a wonderful documentary made in 2013. It's called Fire in the Blood. And it depicts the intentional obstruction by the world's powerful governments and the pharma companies of access to low-cost antiretroviral drugs used in the treatment of HIV/AIDS to people in Africa and other parts of the global south. It's very moving. If you see, there's one scene where you can feel legitimately proud as an Indian because the speaker says, there are all these conspirators, they are these pharma companies, and there is only one country in the world who is standing up to them, who is saving millions of lives in Africa. That is India. So you feel proud. And it's a similar situation now. I think you might ask me, what can India do? We are already campaigning. What more can we do to pressurize, to persuade these rich countries that they should waive the intellectual property rights for these vaccines? I think Mr. Manmohan Singh actually made a suggestion. All his suggestions were good, but one of the suggestions he made was that there should be compulsory licensing of the kind that they have done in Israel. So you don't have to depend on just the Serum Institute, on just one institute in Hyderabad to do the manufacturing. You license it compulsorily. So the production can be scaled up by anybody who's interested. So we have our own indigenous vaccine also. If there are legal issues with regard to, for example, the licensing of Oxford AstraZeneca, we have something called the Covaxin, which has been developed by Bharat Biotech. I'm sure if the government speaks to them, they can be persuaded. Let's offer this up to other people to manufacture. And if we are asking the West to loosen up on intellectual property rights, we can loosen up ourselves. We can offer this technology to the world. And this will also break up the cartel of the pharma companies. So I think it's not that we have no option. You could say that Pfizer and Moderna are the BMWs of the world of vaccines. And Covaxin is like a Maruti car. But both get you to your destination, don't they? And maybe on the Indian roads, the Maruti works better. So we should explore certainly options of compulsory licensing, of scaling up production, of offering not millions of vaccines, which are just, where our own people need it, but offering the technology to the world, because we don't lose anything. The world gains. It's a time for us to all collaborate, for the world to combine in defeating this crisis, because otherwise the borders are not recognized by Madam Corona. Her agents will spread. Her agents will come up with new variants, which are more contagious, more infectious, which can resist your vaccines. Unless we fight this all together, we will never get rid of it in time before millions of lives are lost. So I'm very seriously opposed to Mr. Gates' suggestions. I know his reasons. He feels that if we take away the profits of these big pharma companies, they will not have enough incentive in the future to do research, to do R&D. But there's more at stake at this point. They can make their profits from so many other drugs. Corona drugs are not the only thing. We are in a crisis. And so in a period of such crisis, we need to take up some steps, major steps, such as the waiver of intellectual property and patent rights for all the corona vaccines. Let's hope this happens.